Australia's prisons hold more than just a dark history. They're home to chilling, restless spirits trapped within stone walls. From eerie footsteps echoing through empty cell blocks to ghostly apparitions of former inmates, each prison on this list tells its own terrifying tale. Join us as we journey through 15 of Australia's most haunted prisons, where the past comes alive in the most unsettling ways. 1. Fremantle Prison, Western Australia. Fremantle Prison, a foreboding sandstone structure built in 1855, has seen countless tormented souls pass through its doors. Here, life was harsh, with brutal punishment methods often ending in the gallows. The spirit of Moondyne Joe, a notorious escape artist, is said to linger, defying the bars even in death. Visitors report unsettling cold spots in the cells and hear whispers echoing in the empty hallways. In the prison's gallows room, footsteps resonate when no one is around, as if the condemned are pacing their final steps. Shadows dart through the dimly lit corridors, and the echo of distant screams fills the air, pulling visitors into the chilling reality of lives tormented and lost within these walls. Even the staff feel an oppressive weight, as though the building itself remembers the pain it witnessed. Fremantle's haunted tours unravel spine-chilling stories that leave guests haunted long after they leave. 2. Port Arthur. Historic site, Tasmania. Port Arthur, established in 1833, is known for its haunting beauty and lingering darkness. Once a penal colony feared by convicts, Port Arthur saw men driven to madness in isolation cells, where no sound or light reached them. The eerie silence here is often broken by ghostly cries and whispers that seem to rise from the very ground. The most chilling area, the separate prison, was a place of psychological torment, where inmates were stripped of identity and sanity. The Isle of the Dead, a nearby burial site for convicts and officers, echoes with spectral wails. Shadows appear among the graves, particularly around the area said to hold an officer who went mad and took his own life. The commandant's spirit has been seen patrolling the grounds, and some claim to feel the cold touch of unseen hands or glimpses of pale faces from the cell windows, frozen in eternal torment. 3. Old Melbourne Jail, Victoria. The Old Melbourne Jail is notorious for housing some of Australia's most infamous criminals, including the legendary bushranger Ned Kelly. It's said that Kelly's spirit still roams the jail, pacing restlessly as if awaiting his final day. Guests often experience a suffocating chill in the cells and hear the distant clinking of chains echoing through the darkened hallways. The gallows, where Kelly met his end, are particularly eerie. Visitors report feeling an overwhelming sadness and see shadowy figures out of the corner of their eye. The heavy silence is occasionally punctuated by disembodied voices, whispers of men awaiting their fate. The cell where notorious inmates were kept has witnessed objects moving on their own, and an unexplained mist often forms around Kelly's death mask, displayed in the museum. The oppressive energy makes the Old Melbourne Jail one of Australia's most hauntingly unforgettable locations. 4th. Bogo Road Jail, Queensland. Bogo Road Jail is infamous for its harsh treatment of prisoners and its ghostly encounters. Visitors have reported seeing shadowy apparitions lurking in the cells and hearing the anguished cries of inmates long deceased. The site's most infamous ghost is Ernest Austin, the last man hanged in Queensland. Austin's spirit is said to torment visitors, his laughter echoing through the corridors, especially near the gallows where he met his fate. Staff and tourists alike have felt an intense coldness and an overwhelming sense of dread in certain areas. The women's block is particularly active, where strange lights flicker and the air grows thick with tension. The prison's history of violence, torture, and despair has left a deep, dark mark, making Bogo Road one of Australia's most notorious haunted sites. 5. Maitland Jail, New South Wales. Maitland Jail, with its foreboding stone walls, was notorious for its brutal conditions and high-security cells. Tales of abuse, riots, and despair haunt its history. The ghost of a young prisoner who took his own life is said to wander the halls, often seen as a shadow moving from cell to cell. Visitors hear the jangling of keys and the sound of cell doors slamming shut with no one around. The air grows cold in the isolation wing, where prisoners were kept in darkness for days. Tour guides have reported seeing ghostly figures lurking in the prison yard, and visitors frequently feel a heavy, oppressive presence that leaves them breathless. The spirits of Maitland Jail seem to cling to the place, bound by the harsh memories etched into the stone walls. 6. Old Dubbo Jail, New South Wales. The Old Dubbo Jail, operational from 1847 to 1966, stands as a grim monument to Australia's penal history. Within its walls, prisoners endured severe punishment, and many met their end at the gallows. The ghost of inmate 23, a man said to have died in solitary confinement, is known to roam the isolation cells. Tour guides and visitors alike report feeling a cold hand brush against them, hearing faint whispers echoing down the hallways and seeing shadowy figures disappear around corners. The gallows themselves seem to exude a palpable dread, as though the prisoner's last moments still linger. On particularly quiet nights, mournful cries and the sound of chains dragging across the floor can be heard. The jail's ominous past lives on, echoing through every stone and creaking door. 7. Castlemaine Jail, Victoria. Castlemaine Jail is a fortress of sorrow and silence. Built during the gold rush in 1861, it quickly became notorious for its brutal conditions. The cell blocks are haunted by several restless spirits, including the apparition of a gaunt prisoner known for pacing back and forth, his footsteps echoing in the darkened corridors. One of the most haunted areas is the condemned man's cell, where sudden drops in temperature and flickering lights are common occurrences. Witnesses report hearing desperate pleas and even smelling phantom tobacco smoke, supposedly from a guard who was killed by inmates. The prison's history of executions has left an indelible mark, with invisible presences often felt brushing past visitors. Castlemaine's thick walls hold the voices of its troubled past, a chilling reminder of lives forever imprisoned within. 8. Geelong Jail, Victoria. Geelong Jail, operational from 1853 to 1991, has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted sites in Victoria. Its bleak and oppressive atmosphere is palpable, with stories of inmates who suffered in extreme isolation. The ghost of Cell 47 is infamous, an apparition believed to be a former prisoner who met a violent end. Witnesses describe an icy chill and the feeling of being watched intensely when near the cell. Paranormal investigators have reported hearing unsettling groans and even recorded phantom footsteps. The cell block walls seem to hold on to the agony and despair, creating an overwhelming sense of unease for visitors. Shadows flit through the corridors, and some guests have even seen faces staring back from empty cell windows. The jail's eerie silence is broken only by the ghostly reminders of its tragic past. 9. Bathurst Jail, New South Wales. Bathurst Jail, established in 1888, is infamous for its haunting tales of retribution and despair. The most notorious apparition is that of Ghost George, a prisoner who met a brutal end at the hands of his fellow inmates. His spirit reportedly wanders the cell blocks, with visitors claiming to hear disembodied moans and see his ghostly figure slumped against the walls. The showers, in particular, seem to hold a malevolent energy, with faucets turning on by themselves and lights flickering ominously. Paranormal activity spikes near the infirmary, where the spirits of the ill and dying are said to linger. Bathurst Jail's dark history of violence and punishment has seemingly fused with the very stones, creating a relentless, haunted atmosphere that leaves an indelible impression on all who enter. 10. Adelaide Jail, South Australia. Adelaide Jail, one of the oldest prisons in Australia, has a history steeped in death and despair. Over 45 prisoners were executed here, and their spirits are rumored to haunt the jail. One particularly sinister figure, the ghost of a murderer known as the Tall Man, has been seen lurking in the shadows of the cell blocks. Cold drafts, even on the warmest days, hint at an otherworldly presence. Staff and visitors alike have reported seeing apparitions dressed in outdated prison uniforms and hearing the faint clink of shackles in the dark. The jail's chapel is particularly eerie, with sightings of shadowy figures and sudden, unexplained chills. Adelaide Jail's grim energy lingers, making it one of Australia's most bone-chilling haunted sites. 11th. Trial Bay Jail, New South Wales. Trial Bay Jail, perched on the edge of a rugged cliff, is as ominous as it is isolated. Originally a prison for hardened criminals, it later held German internees during World War I. Many died here, and it's said their restless spirits still roam the jail. Witnesses describe hearing the murmur of German voices and the sound of marching footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Shadows are often seen moving along the walls, and unexplained gusts of cold air have sent shivers down visitors' spines. The most haunted spot is the infirmary, where apparitions of former inmates are said to wander, seeking escape. Trial Bay's isolated location and tragic past make it a place of undeniable eerie energy. 12. Parata Jail, New South Wales. Parata Jail, operating from 1798 to 2011, is steeped in stories of suffering and despair. Known for its brutal punishments, this jail witnessed countless deaths over the centuries, leaving behind a haunting legacy. Visitors report seeing spectral figures pacing the cell corridors, particularly near the solitary confinement area, where inmates endured unimaginable psychological torment. One of the most infamous spirits is that of the Weeping Woman, believed to be the ghost of a female inmate who lost her life in tragic circumstances. Her sobs echo through the silent hallways, chilling those who hear them. Staff have also reported objects moving on their own and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Parata's dark, oppressive energy has made it a magnet for ghost hunters and those seeking to experience the paranormal firsthand. 13. Hobart Convict Penitentiary, Tasmania. The Hobart Convict Penitentiary, originally built in 1821, served as a place of confinement, torture, and execution. Its most haunted area is the execution yard, where over 30 men met their fate on the gallows. Visitors describe a sudden suffocating heaviness upon entering, as though the air itself remembers the condemned men's last gasps. Shadowy figures appear near the gallows, vanishing as quickly as they come. The chapel, converted into a court, holds chilling energies. People report feeling icy hands brush against them and hearing ghostly murmurs. Paranormal investigators have recorded unexplainable sounds, including faint screams, in the old cell blocks. The Hobart Penitentiary's dark past seems embedded in its walls, its echo of pain and fear felt by all who dare to visit. 14. Pentridge Prison, Victoria. Pentridge Prison, known as the Bluestone College, is infamous for housing some of Australia's most dangerous criminals until its closure in 1997. The darkened cell blocks, echoing with the sounds of sorrow and despair, are said to be haunted by the spirits of those who never left. The ghost of D Division is a particularly terrifying figure, a former inmate who was allegedly murdered by his cellmate. His restless spirit is said to wander the halls, his cold, angry energy palpable to anyone who enters. Visitors feel an unnatural chill, and some even claim to have seen his shadow flit across the walls. The haunted B Division houses the gallows, where executions took place. Visitors report feeling a heavy, almost suffocating energy in the room. Pentridge's grim legacy lingers, drawing those curious to feel the echoes of a haunted past. 15. Goulburn Jail, New South Wales. Goulburn Jail, one of the most notorious maximum security prisons in Australia, still operates today but is known for its dark history and paranormal encounters. The most infamous spirit here is the Whispering Ghost, a former inmate who reportedly roams the high-security wing, his disembodied voice heard mumbling in empty corridors. Guards have reported seeing shadowy figures in the surveillance cameras that disappear upon inspection. The cell blocks often carry an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional phantom footsteps that send chills down the spine. Visitors and staff alike report feeling as though they are being watched, with cold drafts sweeping through sealed areas. Goulburn Jail's unforgiving atmosphere and the stories of despair and violence it harbors make it one of Australia's most unnervingly haunted locations. These prisons stand as grim reminders of Australia's shadowed past. Their haunted halls and eerie encounters reveal that some spirits may never truly find peace. If you're brave enough to visit, remember, the souls within these walls may still be watching. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe for more ghostly tales from around the world.